Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It is From the Margins with James Apont, my good friend. James Apont is a Central Florida attorney. He is a husband, a father, a grandfather. He is also a former official with the Orange County Democratic Party and the Florida Democratic Parties. He is a guest commentator for Telemundo, all things politics. He is a consultant to many candidates and electeds. And one of his favorite pastimes is not just making ice cream for Thanksgiving, but stamp collecting. Hello, Jimmy. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. I hope you're ready for Christmas, and I hope everything is looking good for you too.
I'm I'm looking good. I hope I am. But as per usual, I'm never ready for Christmas. And it just hit me that we're about 2 weeks out, and I have no idea what my plans are. I could be here, I could be in Chicago. Who knows?
Okay, well, hey, at least you don't have a plan. I have I things planned for me. Not that I planned them; they planned for me. You're gonna be here. You're gonna be there, and I just you know.
Will you be spending time with your grandchildren?
Oh yes, the whole family's coming down for Christmas. They will be here on the 22nd. So yes, my two adult grandchildren will be here. My younger one is lives here, so he will be here. And yesterday he had a school function, his Christmas school function.
Excellent. And how was that?
It was interesting. They gave him a plastic electrical guitar to pretend that he was playing, and he could play.
I miss that. I really do miss that. When they're young and the Christmas pageants and events at their schools, I really miss that.
They they they're too young to have any shame. They have no shame. They just act out. Yeah, I love that.
Exactly.
We become adults and then we say, don't want man. Yeah, yeah. But at that age, they don't care at all.
That's, that's awesome. Well, let's get right into it. And we got three topics that will guide us. But if something else comes up, we'll just run with it. But the first one is Minnesota and their Somali community. There's a lot going on there. And I know there was this, some members of the Somali community had put out on social media a gag about Somali after 300 years. Somalis are returning to Minnesota as their promised land, and it's a gag. They're trolling us, but it's pretty funny. But people are actually trying to believe that stuff. But Jimmy, there's something really important that is going on. There is adjudicated fraud that occurred with not only, I believe, a food program during COVID and also Medicare, if I understand correctly. And there's a lot of fallout from this. What are your thoughts?
Uh, it's kind of bad that what I'm about to say, but this is what's wrong with our media. This is what's wrong with our president. This is what's wrong with our country to a certain extent. Was there fraud? I'm not going to even try to argue that there wasn't. But was they the only ones who committed fraud? No, there's African Americans who committed fraud. There's some people in Miami who are of Hispanic descent, as me, who committed fraud during the COVID things. I mean, for God's sake, there was a lot of fraud with that COVID money.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
it's not exclusively them that we're going to make an issue that they did it. Why? Because they are not white. Why? Because they're not African American. Because most African Americans don't consider Somalis African American per se. They
That's
don't.
right.
They're
Yeah,
not
exactly.
Hispanic. So let's uh, start saying that they are bad. Look, again, I'm not saying they didn't do it, but they're not the only ones. And what bothers me is we're picking on them because of where they come from and not because of anything else. Are you going to tell me that no white people committed fraud with COVID money? Well, then you're lying. Are you going to tell me that no Hispanics committed fraud with COVID money? Then you're lying. If you could tell me no African Americans committed fraud with COVID money, then you're lying. Did they? Yes. But why are we picking on them as like they're the only ones who did it? That's my problem. They did it, but they're not the only ones. And they did it, and yes, it should be wrong, but we should be talking as them as a group of the people in the United States who committed fraud, who may be Simonian or from some other place, but why are we making an issue where they come from? Why are we calling them what we're calling them and coming out of the mouth of the president? Because that is really bad. Okay,
Oh yeah.
did they do something wrong? Yes. And by the way, I'm going to ask you a question and everybody. You're African American. An African American goes and kills somebody. Should you be penalized for that? Answer to that is no.
Right.
You're white. A white person kills somebody else. Should every white in this country be penalized for that? No. Same. Are you Hispanic and Hispanic kills somebody? Should we all be penalized? Why am I bringing this up? Because, yes, there's a group of maybe 5 or 8 people who got arrested for this, or Simonians. But who are we chastising? The whole Simonian community. And theirs is wrong. They didn't do anything wrong. Why are we chastising them? Because somebody like them did committed a crime? You know how stupid that sounds? I mean, really? Every person from a certain group commits a crime, the whole group should pay for it. So every
Right.
time a white man steals from anybody, every white man in this country should be chastised. No, 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 Jimmy, that's wrong. We cannot generalize. Well, that's what we do with some money. My problem is not that the crime was committed. My problem is that we're generalizing and chastising and punishing the whole Somalian community, which is unfair and incorrect.
I think one of the frustrations, Jimmy, because I remember the charges that were levied against the organization that was using the funds that they applied for to feed children during the COVID pandemic, and I remember reading about the fraud. I remember the arrests, and then I understood that there were convictions, and then it was out of the news. And then yes, it was a lot of money. I think they're talking about 300 million right now of fraud. And then a judge released one of the ringleaders of that scheme, of that crime. He was released from jail. And people are like, wait a second. And when I heard about that, I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. The person went through due process, was convicted, and was incarcerated. Then a judge, and I do not know the circumstances why. I just know that that person was released by a judge. And then what doesn't make things better, Representative Ihan Omar being very forthright, very outspoken about her Somalian community and not really asking that those individuals who were involved in that fraud to take accountability for their actions, and for her to just like, it is what it is. That's an impression I got from her public statements. And so all this attention, she's a lightning rod for a lot of criticism, and I'm just like, whoa, what's going on? And then learning that 300 alleged state whistleblowers brought this attention to higher ups in Minnesota state government, and those concerns were ignored. This is, and I thought Tim Walz, Governor Walz, would, be pretty much immune from this particular news because everything was adjudicated when he ran for vice president with Kamala Harris. and now this is coming back, and it is coming back ferociously. What are your thoughts on that?
Again, the first thing that Trump did was pardon everybody who committed murder and almost burned down the Capitol.
Mhm.
All these people were convicted and found guilty, and not, it wasn't even a judge; it was him. Uh,
I think it was a judge.
no, the people
Oh,
from January 6th, those were
oh,
Jerry
I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Okay, I'm sorry.
from Trump. Everybody was convicted. You're off. You're a hero, and okay. Uh, the problem that we have right now is that I'm not sure why she has to apologize for what people in her state did. I've never seen any congressman, state senator apologize. As a matter of fact, our state senator, who was found to commit $1 billion of fraud, which is 3 times what these people took, Rick Scott, returned it, didn't apologize, and when you ask about it, all he says, "Well, that was he throw somebody else in accounting under the bus, but he was a CEO." But he's never apologized for that. Right now, I haven't heard DeSantis apologize for the millions that they took for Hope either. Uh,
Right.
Politicians like Trump don't apologize, and she didn't apologize. Why should she? I'm not sure. I'm not sure why. She had nothing to do with it. That somebody of her own race did that. Should I stand up now and apologize for everything that an Hispanic has done in this country? I don't think so. You're not going to apologize for everything that an African Americans done. So when people tell me these things, I'm like, why? But here's where it becomes the problem. What happened again is wrong. Why the judge released him, I'm not sure exactly myself, but I do know, for example, that we're talking about this because it's the Democrats. We're talking about this because they are not white like Donald Trump. Donald Trump just released a convicted drug dealer who has never said, "I'm sorry about what I did" at all.
Hmm.
And he said, "Here you are." And we know that he was paid some money to do it. And that is the truth. So we need to deal with that. Right now, Donald Trump took one of our Democrats thinking that he will become a Republican in Texas and pardoned him before he even went to trial. Said, "Hey, you don't even have to go to trial. I'm going to give you an official pardon, even though you haven't asked for it. And I'm going to do this." We have a problem. But does Donald Trump ever apologize for all the screw ups he does? Of course not. Does Donald Trump apologize for the murders that he's committing in the Caribbean Sea? No. He's just killing people and saying that they're dealing in drugs. He's never proved that they are, but he will say that they're. And even those who are grabbing to little boat pieces of the boat, he's had them bombarded again and killed. That's murder. So basically, no. We're This is what I call, and I've called for years. This is the Republican magician thing. Don't look at this. Let me show you this other thing. But what I'm doing is worse, but I'm going to show you. Look, this happened a couple of years ago. This was wrong. But again, like I started my whole thing, this is not the only fraud that was done with COVID money. Was one of them. Was it large? Yes, it was large. I'm not going to say it was a small thing, but it was not the only one. That the money was not used for what it was supposed to be used, that's fine. With all due respect, uh, uh, this is a corrupt country. We have to understand that. I never forget the movie Shutdown Redemption, and where he brings a pie to the guy with all this cash money just so to buy him out. We know that is the way we operate in this country. So nothing ceases to surprise me. What surprises me is that we can make it an issue if this party does it, but what we do not. As a matter of fact, you know what the press has not even published this year, which surprises me? that none of the appointments as chairman of committees of the U.S. House of Representatives has been fallen on a woman. That Mike Johnson has exclusively appointed only men. Now, if you think there's nothing wrong with that, that's fine for you. But if you think I think I'm stupid enough to believe that that's okay, when Marjorie Green is bitching about that, there's something to say about that.
Right.
So it is what it is. So, but we're this is what I like to call a sideshow. We don't want to discuss this. But by the way, yeah, but I
Jimmy,
prove myself right.
I'm sorry.
I prove myself right on
Mhm.
another issue that I know you want to bring up.
Well, let's bring it up. Let's talk about it. Is it is it about Venezuela
It's
or
Venezuela.
did,
It's certainly about Venezuela.
Jimmy, on first appearance, on first glance, it seems like it's this so-called war on drugs, for lack of a better term. The administration's reasoning for blockading Maduro's Venezuela, for having the sanctions in, for bombing the speedboats, for taking this control of this tanker full of oil. It's it, the pretense of fighting drugs or drug trafficking seems to be slipping here. And we talked about this in our last show that it's about the oil. Venezuela does hold the largest deposits of oil outside of the Middle East. And that will benefit the American government as it moves to become stronger within its own hemisphere, within its own backyard, and has less reliance and also less expense in trying to work around the nation, in particularly securing oil, valuable minerals, earth minerals, and things like that. What are your thoughts?
Well, today, as we record this program, I would like somebody in the administration to tell me what the fuck are you doing taking possession of an oil tanker, which belongs to a private company for the record. Yes, that is full from petroleum that was obtained and purchased in Venezuela. You're right. Okay. Uh, what excuse are you use? That some of the sailors there use drugs? Well, I assume if you go in a oil tanker that has over 200 and people weren't running it, some of them use drugs, and you're going to find drugs on it. Great excuse. You have taken possession of private property, but you're taking possession of oil. And I wonder where that oil is going to end up. I could bet you right now the U.S. is going to try to get some money for it and probably is going to sell it to Exxon or to Shell, to one of the other companies, and do this. This is how bad this is getting. We are stealing. In the good old days, this is piracy. There's no excuse. And let's get this clear. As of this time that we're recording, there's been no mention that they found any drugs on it, or that there was any belief that there was drugs on that vessel. It's just we took possession of a Venezuelan oil tanker. No, it belongs to a private company. It's oil that was purchased by a country, and it was on its way to be delivered to the purchaser. And we just said, fuck it, we're going to take possession of this because we are the big boys, we are the bad boys, and we're going to do whatever we want. As a matter of fact, the cartoon that they did of Pete Hessek in Saturday Night this Saturday fits him to a T. I mean, I do whatever I want, and I'm going to do it. You took possession of a U.S. oil tanker, not one cannon on that ship. Okay, it's not a threat to anybody because it's not a battleship. doesn't have cannons, doesn't have machine guns. This is not transporting weapons. It's not transporting ammunition. It's transporting oil. That's it. That's it. I said, people, it's not about drugs. It's about oil. And I was not the only person who was saying that, but now the U.S. proved it's true. Why do you take possession of an oil tanker?
Mm-hmm.
What's the benefit? But not the benefit. Let me ask one question, because I like to ask questions for you people to come. Tell me, how was that oil tanker a threat to the security of the United States, either by that they could invade us or cause harm to us? Because if my information is correct, was going to China, was even could turn around and go to China or
Okay.
Africa. No, I think it was Africa and eventually China.
Okay.
But it was not a threat to us. It did not have any weapons. It was not even coming towards us. Okay.
Okay.
So it's not a threat to us. And, oil tankers travel the whole Pacific and Atlantic Ocean. So why was this one a threat to us? It wasn't. It was just a way of showing Maduro, hey, we're going to take possession of your oil because we're the big bad boys in this hemisphere. We have all our battleships here and we're taking over your oil. Why are we taking over your oil? Two reasons. One, we're going to control your oil from here on. And that
Right.
way we could do whatever. Two, we're going to affect China because your biggest purchaser is Africa and China. If you look it up, you're going to find it. They don't sell oil to the United States. Okay? They don't, because in our stupidity, when we got into an argument with Maduro, we ended that relationship. He didn't, we did. Okay? Just so it's clear who ended. But now it's not bombarding fast boats. And killing over 80 people. That's not good enough. It's an oil tanker. And that is worth billions of dollars. But my question to you, how was that a threat to the United States? Because the other ones, they're coming to the United States to bring in drugs. This oil tanker was not coming to the United States. It was going to Africa. So how does that threaten us? No, I'm the big boy, and I'm going to get away with it. And basically right now, we are. Because countries are protesting and stuff like that. And I would wonder, how will we react if an oil tanker of ours was stopped by another country? Just
Right, Jimmy. And you're right, because it's perplexing, because I would believe there's all types of crimes being made for seizing a private vessel that is moving a commodity from one place to another, if in fact that's what they're doing. I, I don't know what's on that ship, and we only know what's being reported to us. However, this is very suspect of the U.S. government. I'll leave a little bit. I'll give them the reasonable doubt here, because
I don't think this government deserves a reasonable doubt. And I'm going to call out the way
okay.
they do things. I don't believe. And really, if this happened more than 5 hours ago, as to now, they have not told us that they found drugs. Then they found anything bad in there. They just say, we took it, and that's fine. It's Venezuelan, so we can take it.
Right.
I haven't heard a spin, and that's what concerns me. I haven't
Very
heard a
concerning.
spin at all. We just took it. That's it. Because the other ones, they say that they're bombarding fast boats that are full of drugs. We have to take their word for it, because they've never proven to us that there was any drugs. Okay, they never
Right.
have said, "Hey, we send our ships out there and we look at all the pails of pot or fentanyl or whatever." They've never done that. And normally, when there's a drug deal like that, just to show off how good they're protecting us, they will show us the bales of drugs. They've never done this. Never. Once.
Mhm.
Just wonder about that.
And Jimmy, my I'm always go back to whether it is the Epstein case or this situation with Maduro in Venezuela. I always go back to follow the money. Venezuela, Maduro has been designated a narco state, and therefore,
By the U.S. alone,
by the U.S.
no
alone,
evidence.
that's right.
The
That's
rest of the
correct.
world does not consider Venezuela a narco country. They consider their neighbor, Colombia, yes,
Colombia,
okay,
yes,
but not Venezuela.
yes. And so, if this in fact is the case for the United States and their cause to believe that Maduro, in his position, facilitates um, drug drug trafficking, where is that money as evidence? There's got to be someone or some organization or someone's has to be making a ton of money to verify this, to collaborate the fact that Venezuela is a narco state. I'm sure we've done it in Colombia, where the DEA and other forces have been involved in the drug war, a failed drug war in the past. So, to relieve any concern, I think it's important that the administration says, give us information, something that lets us know that as Americans, we're doing the right thing.
You have to understand that for years we have a problem in this country of bad press and being, look, when people talk, say fake press, I would say fake government information.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, look, people are trusting Pete and Donald, telling them that they're stopping the drugs coming
Right.
into this country. Those fast boats, the closest they could get to this country would be to Puerto Rico. That's the closest they could get. Second of all, we know we do not have, we do not have a fentanyl problem coming from South America. It comes from Mexico and through Canada and through San Francisco. It does not come through uh, Venezuela. Second of all, we know that Venezuela is not a drug producing country simply because they have put all their money in their petroleum and they can live well off their petroleum. Colombia, a difference, does have a drug problem, does have cartels, does have all these things. And they, now, what has happened, okay, that according to, and this is the DEA, according to the DEA, what the problem with Venezuela is a very simple one. There's transportation between Ecuador and Colombia of drugs. And there's a couple of Maduro's generals who they give them a little bit of a payoff and they look the other way, which also happens here in the United States and in other areas. So let's stop pretending that it's only there. Uh,
Right.
so, yes. Do they produce? No. Do they export? No. Are they a cartel? No. They asked the president of Ecuador, Colombia, Panama, if they ever heard the cartel del Sol, and they say no, there's no such a thing. He makes a lot of money selling his petroleum to Africa and to China. And as a matter of fact, when people say, how does he support himself? China invests in Venezuela, not because they like him, it's because they get the petroleum. Okay.
Right.
And basically, it is a give that they both get out of it. So when we talk about this, listen to also what Trump said. Trump did not say, and listen how stupid we could be at times. And I'm saying this. He did not say that the conversation he had with Maduro, Maduro promised to stop drug dealing. No, no. Maduro promised to give exclusives of special minerals and of petroleum to the United States. There was no promise as to the drugs. Why? Because there was no promise they need to be made because there are no such drugs. Look, uh, we go into wars for different reasons and with different excuses. Uh, we went to Vietnam, my generation, to stop communism. We went into Vietnam because basically we were afraid. that we were going to lose a market. Give you an example. Right now, the United States stopped producing rice. South Korea produces very little. 80% of all the rice that we use in the United States comes from Vietnam. Okay, and some other products that we buy from them from Vietnam. So
Right.
basically, that it was a market issue driven war. But we won't tell you that because we don't want. The other issue was basically Nike is made in Vietnam, and there's a bunch of other products that are made in Vietnam now that we have reestablished with them. But that's why we went to war. Communism, no. Right now, is Maduro a dictator? Yes. Is he cruel to his people? Yes. Is he bad to his people? Yes. And I could give you 10 or 15 other, including the guy in Hungary and including the guy in the Philippines. But Trump likes those guys, so they're okay. But they're also dictators. So let's stop pretending that they're not. Are they as bad as Maduro? Maybe not, but that doesn't change it. As a matter of fact, the favorite friend and the best friend of Donald Trump is Putin. Do we want to call him a dictator? Yes. Does he kill people? Yes. Is he into some shady things?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Okay. Are we going into Russia to take him out? Hell no. No, 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 no.
We got a proxy war in Ukraine, but however, that's a different story.
Yeah. But this is where I want to say this. So basically, at this point, yeah, uh, it's all about the oil. Stupid. It has nothing to do about drugs. Anybody go if you really sit down with the people there and their reports, they have never considered Venezuela as a drug dealing country. It's in South America. It is Colombia and Ecuador. Believe it or not, people don't know that, and a little bit from Peru, but not that
Okay.
much. But
Okay.
the thing with Venezuela is that the drugs are transported through their mouth, and the generals you pay them and they look the other way. They don't care. As long as
And,
it's not sold in Venezuela, they're good. You want to take it from Colombia to Ecuador? Yeah, more power to you.
and to bring things closer to the nation, we just got through just before Thanksgiving a shutdown, and there was a pledge, a government shutdown, and there was a pledge to revisit the American Care Act, or Obamacare subsidies.
Affordable Care Act, yeah.
Thank you, Affordable Care Act. Thank you, or also
Which most
Obamacare.
people don't know is that's the title they call Obamacare.
Mhm. And the deal was that this will be revisited, that there will be negotiations and a vote to solve this issue, whether it's extending the subsidies that the government was providing to insurance companies to provide Obamacare. And that agreement to avoid another shutdown ends in January, about maybe 4 or 5 weeks from now. There's been different proposals that have been discussed by both the Republicans and Democrats. What are your thoughts on the Republicans stating, hey, we've got to stop paying the insurance companies. Let's give the money directly to Americans and let them decide what to do with this money, these government subsidies for their own health care. And then the Democrats saying, hey, let's extend this. Let's extend the existing subsidies for 2, 3, 4 more years and just keep Obamacare going. What are your thoughts?
I would have no problem if the Republicans stopped lying to the American public of the reality. If they were to say, hey, Mr. Ofan, tell me how much you need as a subsidy to pay your health insurance company, tell me which insurance company you want to choose, and yes, we will pay it for you, I would have no problem.
Sure.
But to send me $2,000 and think that with that I could buy health insurance, it's not only naive, it's an insult to my intelligence. Because it might not be enough. And I don't know any insurance policy in this country that you could buy with $2,000. I'll start with this. That's why I say these people live in La La Land, because there's no one you could buy for $2,000.
Right.
The second thing is, who are you going to send it to? To everybody? Well, that's kind of stupid, because with all due respect, people over 65 are Medicare. So you send me $2,000. I don't need it. Oh, well, that will pay you $189 a month that you pay. Yeah, it would not cover the whole thing.
Sure.
It would still be short. But really, do I need that to be done? Yeah. And the other question is, are you going to send it to people who basically, at this point, their employer pays their health insurance?
Right.
Okay, so now you're giving them money in exchange for. So really, it is not that well thought out. It's what I like to call the BS of propaganda. It's like in Florida, we used to have a law that said that if you're a senior, they would pay for your medications up to $150. Well, that was $150 a year. Really, there was something like 8 point something million dollars, and every come about February of every year, the money had run out. So basically, yes, the propaganda was there. Yes, there was a law that passed. Yes, there was money that was budgeted, but it was never enough. So basically, it was more of a, hey, let me take you for a ride. So I do have a problem with just saying, we're going to send everybody $2,000. Nobody's going to be able to buy health insurance with $2,000 at all. This doesn't solve the problem. Plus,
Jimmy, I don't know how there's going to be any type of agreement given the divisiveness in Congress, particularly around the Affordable Care Act, and how this issue has been kicked down the road, and made as a political, football, to garner votes during a special election or a midterm election. Healthcare is expensive.
it is. And the problem that they're not thinking this through, especially the Republicans, there's three things that I would advise the Democrats to run on. One was the comment made by Donald Trump that the economy in this country is A plus A plus A plus A plus A. I don't know if you saw that one.
No, I did not.
He gave it to a conservative person that the economy in this country is A plus A plus A. It's great. Everything is fine. There is no problem. It's the best economy. Okay. With all due respect, I will put that on an ad. The other thing is he did comment about affordability.
Oh, I heard that.
He did a Jimmy Carter thing, say, "Hey, we're going to have to tie our belts. Things are going to get," and not only he said they're going to get worse. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the guy who said, "Let me the first day in office, everything is going to get cheaper, and everything's going to get better," and he has not delivered on that one. That's two. The third one I found even more interesting would be basically saying to the people, "Hey, your health insurance went up. Your car insurance went up. We've been fighting for you. We shut down the government for 58 days just to get you some help with your health insurance." And the Republican Party, who's a party that only believes in helping the rich and the powerful and the great corporations, has said no, but has not come up with a solution. And to take Marjorie Taylor Greene's words, they've been bushing about it for over 6 years, telling you that they have a plan, and they don't. It's not our fault. It's their fault. And if you keep electing Republicans, you're going to be without health insurance, and the cost of everything is going to go up. Elect us. This could be a landslide if they play their cards right, because basically it's like, hey, here's a silver platter. We're going to go into a general election in 11 months, not in 2 years or 4 years, in 11 months, in which we are going to be where you for 11 months you cannot afford health insurance, and you're going to have somebody say, "Vote for me, and I will lower your health insurance," or "Vote for me, and I don't give a fuck about your health insurance." And let's see who wins that election. That is really where it's come down to. But I understand we've had some comments.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. And
Let's answer that.
let's get into some of these comments. To our viewers, we're going to try something different and new, and it's going to be a standing um, recurrent part of the show. Uh, we have noticed the popularity in this particular podcast has been growing and growing with the likes, the shares, and most definitely because we asked for it, the comments, and we appreciate it all. We really do. And we've had some very good comments, and Jimmy and I have talked about a few of them off camera. So let's get to it. Jimmy, this is one that we did not talk about. And this one comes from episode last week, short form content that we pull from. The question or the title of this particular piece was, "What has Trump actually done to improve your life?" Because you spoke about that. That's a question you posed. And a commenter, Bill Sender C1Y, stated, question, has your life gotten any worse?
Yes. Let me
Okay.
put it this way. I'm going to make it simple. The cost of living has gone up because of the tariffs. The cost of everything has gone up because of the tariffs. You said I'm a stamp collector. Let me say something to you people who do not know this. Because of the tariffs and how bad our economy is and how mismanaged it is, the cost of the dollar has gone down. So if you want to buy, let's say, something in Europe, it used to be almost a 90 cents US for a euro. Now it's something like 78 cents a euro. So the dollar's gone down. And if you don't think that makes things worse for all of us, yes, because we purchase things that come from outside the United States. Right now, the cost of insurance has gone up. The cost of medication has gone up. The cost of food has gone up. If that's not being worse, I don't know what it is. Oh, please stop blaming Biden. You've been in the government for 12 months now, okay? 12 months. You promised that day one you would fix everything. No, no, no. The tariffs have put costs on our goods. That was not Biden. That was you. The economy is going down. And basically, your president said, your president has said, things are going to get worse before they get better. So I'm going to take him at his word about that. So, yes, are safer? No. Do countries hate us? Yes. Do we really have good relationship with other people? No. And I cannot think of one thing that I can say that Trump has done that's made my life better, which is his job. So, yeah, those are the things that are worse.
Also from YouTube, a comment from Sean Whitehead, R2D. I got a 3% raise this year. So, yes, my income has raised. That's his comment. And Sean went on to say a couple of more things. I responded to him and said that, the comments across our socials were about 50-50. Some say things are good, some say things are not so good. And so he kind of brought that out also. Also, he stated that in this particular content, he may have been he said that in response to another commenter, JVAL6949, that person said, what has Trump actually done to improve your life? JVAL said he fell asleep. So that was kind of a sarcastic comment that someone made. And Sean Whitehead said in response, Obviously, you must be talking about sleepy, creepy Joseph Stalin. By the way, he's the one that really crushed us on the increases of prices. So there's a reference, Jimmy, to life under Joe Biden. What do you think?
You know, people, let's be honest. Was Biden a good president? No. Did he make things worse for all of us? I'll accept that, yes. Is he still to blame 12 months later? No. But listen to the question and stop trying to play politics to your convenience. Question: has he made anything that makes your life better? He promised that he was going to make your life better. He promised he was going to solve everything that Biden done wrong day one. Okay? He promised that prices were going to go down. They haven't. And for you, 3.4, that you must work in the private industry because the government has not given any raises. So I'm going to have to assume you work in the private industry. Your boss gave you a raise not because of Trump, it's because of your hard work and because you deserved it. So don't give credit to where credit's not due. You got a raise because you're a good worker. And for that, I congratulate you. And you deserve your raise. But don't give that credit to Trump. The truth is that even with 3.4, if the economists are right and those of us who study economy, the inflation is a little bit over 3.4, okay, at this point. So basically, your raise has been eaten and absorbed by the inflation. So that is not a thing. Look, if your best thing is to say, hey, Biden is responsible for this, then you're going to have to accept that Trump has not been able to do anything to fix it. The only way you can blame Biden is he did this and Trump has been incapable of fixing it in 12 months. He lied to you when he said he was going to fix it. So, yes, your life is worse because you elected somebody who said, I'm going to fix it and has not been able to do so.
Okay. And a couple of more comments on YouTube, and then we'll go quickly to TikTok.
Oh, I love
Um, and these are from individuals who weren't too happy about comments you made in regards to the Republicans. The first is a comment to a piece of short form content, and that was called "The Worst Enemy Is Themselves." Republicans self sabotaging. And G. Herman 1165 said, "My stars, the ignorance in this is brutal." Man.
Well, and I agree. His ignorance is brutal, and he is right. If he believes that everything among either party is perfect, that is part of our problem. I have learned and I have accepted that there's a bunch of fuck ups in my party. I'm not going to even call them right. I have accepted that Joe Biden screwed up majorly, and Republicans have a problem accepting that Donald Trump has done the same. As far as they're concerned, Donald Trump has done no wrong, and everything wrong was Biden. That's as simplistic and as ignorant as it comes. He, Donald Trump, ran and was elected because he was going to fix everything
Yeah.
that Biden had done, and he has fixed nothing. That's the whole problem. If we're so bad, it's because Donald Trump has not been able to fix it. So
Mhm.
that's one thing. But to say that there's nothing wrong in the Republican Party, for Pete's sake, even Marjorie Taylor Greene agrees there's something wrong in her party. Even though the over 30 people who are not going to run for re-election, okay, Republicans are
That's right.
jumping ship because the party is screwed up. Okay? That's how bad things are. So for you to say that the only party that's fucked up is the Democrats and the Republicans are fine, you are part of the problem. You cannot see fault in your own party, then you're wrong. Because I'll welcome you. I accept faults in my party. And if you cannot accept in yours, then you're the problem. You're not the solution.
And this kind of goes along with the comment about another piece of content regarding the Republicans. Carol Gallagher 9728 responded to the content, why there is no Republican Party, Trump's dominance, when you were still speaking about the Republican Party. She stated, stop making up lies, get help for your TDS, Trump derangement syndrome.
Well, I
And
don't have a Trump to Ranger Senator. I have a Republican concern. I'm trying to tell you people that it is we, the Democrats. I'm going to give you an example, just so you can learn a little bit. We, the Democrats, allow Biden to do some stupid and bad things and didn't stop him. Okay? For you to think that Donald Trump is perfect and that he's incapable of committing mistakes shows that you have your head up you know where. Your syndrome is Trump could do no wrong syndrome. Everybody could do some wrong. The truth of the matter is, if you do not do something to straighten this out in 2026, you're going to lose the House and you might even lose the Senate.
yeah.
And that will be the end of the control of your party. Look, I live in Florida, and for 30 years, the city of Miami's mayor has always been a Republican, and it didn't even come close.
That's right.
So if you think that there's no changes in the wind, you have a denial syndrome, and that's a bad one.
Moving over to TikTok, Jimmy, we're going right back to Venezuela. Many comments on the short content on TikTok regarding Venezuela. It's about oil, not drugs. A very interesting comment here, Jimmy. Drew 6766 stated, change Venezuela to a U.S. currency and control of their oil, and Venezuela's economy would be a U.S. checkmate against BRICS. So Drew was talking about regime change and Venezuela becoming the de facto territory of the United States. I'm exaggerating there, but I think we get the gist.
Well, look, it's kind of interesting that the ignorance of that comment. The U.S. dollar is not the strongest currency in the world right now.
Right.
Well, it is not. What do you mean? No, it's not. The strongest currency in the world after the pound is the euro.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, there's still some that say that the yen in Japan is at the same level. Uh, the US dollar in the good old days was the strongest currency in the world. It is no longer that. So if you want to take that, let's do it a step further. You notice that he said the Brits.
The BRICS, yes.
He's referring to the British people also trying to control the oil. Hey, what if we made Venezuela a pound sterling economy that would be more solid than the US dollar? Ooh, did he say that? Yes, it is more solid. £1 is almost $2 US right now. A euro is more than €1 is more than $1. So really, people stop thinking that the US dollar is the holy mighty because it isn't. Remember, newsroom. I don't know what you're talking about because really, the US is not the most powerful economic country in the world. Their dollar is going down, and the person responsible for that is Donald Trump. Because here's one thing that I don't think you knew. When Donald Trump took office, the dollar was not as weak as it is today, 12 months later. And you can't blame Biden for that one.
Jimmy, now this next comment by Brian B43, I found very interesting. The last part of it, and I wanted to touch on this when we were talking about Venezuela's oil, Maduro, so forth and so on. He states, or Brian states, no, we already get their oil. We refine it. It's about taking out China and British banks. That last part, Jimmy, China and British banks.
I
Some
did not.
content, some content was forwarded to me, And it was about, of course, China. China is our primary rival, but the British banks have an incredible influence in this narco trade. And there was some content that was forwarded to me for me to review, and to better understand it, I need to do a deeper dive and do my own damn research. But I wanted to highlight what Brian was saying.
Brian is correct. And for those of you who buy oil from a company called BP, does anybody really know what the BP stands for? Do you
British
know?
Petroleum.
Yes, and it's owned by British Petroleum. It is a British company. We're not the only ones who have exclusive things with petroleum. As a matter of fact, so do the Russians. Okay, and so this could. Okay, so basically, when people say it's about the British, sure, with the British, and that's why I use the pound. Would the British love to take over? Yes, but the British are the people who are buying petroleum from Venezuela because they don't want to make it a change of regime. They're not criticizing. They're not attacking. They're not antagonizing Maduro. They say, "What is the price for the oil?" They pay it. They take it, and yes, they refine it, and they sell it in the United States. Believe it or not, on the PD. Yes. Do they refine it in the United States? Yes, but it is British petroleum. It is not American petroleum. It's a technical point, but that's how they go around it. He is correct in that one. Two, the one that a lot of people are concerned about is China, because even though the British buy petroleum from Venezuela, the majority of it is purchased by China. And China is not only using it for themselves, but they're selling it in Africa and other countries to make money off of it, and that's fine. And this is a free market. The way Maduro is doing it, this is my price. You pay me for my oil, you got it. He's not trying to play favorites. Nobody is getting discounts. Nobody's getting it cheaper or anything like that. He is selling it. For some reason, the U.S. did two things. It had a good relationship with Venezuela. It controlled its government because that's a fact of life that we don't want to say. And the poor people in Venezuela were getting screwed. And the poor people rebelled. And yes, and ended up, instead of with a good government, with a bad government. That's true too. But at this point, the petroleum is sold to the highest bidder, like it should be. And he is right, Brian. You are completely right. It is about the British. It's about the Chinese. But then again, it's a free market world, and we who believe in democracy and believe in free market have no problem with the British going and say to them, "How much is the oil? Here's your money." And the Chinese going to Maduro and say, "How much is your oil? Here's your money." That's a totally free market. Do we want? We talk about a free market, but we don't really believe in a free market. We believe in a market that favors the United States, which I'm all for. Don't
Yes,
misunderstand me. I'm all
America
for,
first.
but don't try to pretend that it's something else.
And Jimmy, our final comment from TikTok. I think you'll like this one. It was in regards to your comments regarding Tennessee Congressional District 7, Republican Matt Van Elps defeating Democrat Afton Bin. Um, Cracker Feet 2.0 stated, "Well done, well said." That was Cracker Feet's comment. Well said. Um,
Look, it's true. I do politics like you do. Okay, you get paid for it. I don't. Okay, and I'm going to clarify that. Uh, Getting paid thousands of dollars and spending thousands of dollars to come close, you still lost. I'm sorry, you still lost. That Trump won that district by 22 points and she lost it by 5. That's fine. In a special election, those things happen. Doesn't have any bearing. What more has more bearing, and nobody touched it until yesterday, was Miami. To me, Miami was mind-boggling. I mean,
mhm.
30 years. There's the basing of Cubans who are starting to show that the younger Cubans, the sons of the Republican Cubans are Democrats. Believe it or not, I've been saying this for years, and they elected a Democrat. You have a city that in a state where you have a corrupt governor, a corrupt lieutenant governor, a corrupt attorney general, a corrupt CFO helping out to make sure this happens. And basically, they turn around and they lost that election with a disorganized the Democratic Party in a county that the Democrats have not won in the last two elections.
Yes.
Okay. And a state party that is in shambles, for lack of a better word, and a person who she ran a campaign. If you want to call her a liberal, you can.
Okay.
Okay, because if you listen to her, she has more of a tendency of liberalism than to say that she's in the moderator in the middle. So basically, and it wasn't that close. It's not only that it changed. It wasn't like, oh, she won by 200 votes. No, 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 no. It wasn't that close. Was it in December? That's when the elections have been in the last 25 years. So don't give me that bullshit either. Okay? So is it an off-year election? Yes. So is the city of Orlando, where we just had Chapin win against a well-oiled machinery too. So let's call it as it is.
Right.
That Tennessee was a waste of money, energy, and of the news covering it. It was a complete waste of effort. Yet, we do have surprises that happen, and those are not even published because nobody was talking about Miami. Nobody.
Right. And Eileen Higgins did a great job defeating Emilio Gonzalez to become mayor elect. And you're correct, Jimmy. Where's the press coverage? Where's the excitement by the Florida Democratic Party?
What Florida Democratic Party? Florida Democratic Party is a joke. Whoa, did I say that? You see, people, when you talk to me and say that I'm not against the Republic. I'm against those corrupt people who have taken over both parties. Okay? So before you start criticizing me because of this or that, I'm against corrupt politicians. And corrupt politicians can be those also who do everything to maintain their being elected and to have their heads up Donald Trump's ass. That is, to me, is wrong. You are the party of that you represent people, and you might make sure that your people are protected. Well,
speaking of representation, I think we're bumping up to the end game here. Let's hear your fuck ups of the week.
Okay, well, the fuck up of the week for the Democrats is a simple one. Basically, people, you need to know how to campaign.
Yes.
You need to know how to use what is put in a silver platter. You had a Jimmy Carter statement. For those of you who are too young to know what a Jimmy Carter is, in the 70s, Jimmy Carter came to the nation and said, we have a petroleum issue, we have an energy issue, we're going to have to tighten our belts, we have problems with producing energy, we have to change and do different. He had that speech, and it cost him an election. Okay?
Sure did.
Okay? We had our president, Donald Trump, 3 days ago, make the same statement. It was basically, in my opinion, Jimmy Carter too. Things are going to become more expensive. There's going to be an inflation. Things are going to get worse before they get better. And it's going to be 2026 is going to be a bad economical year. What I've been saying for the last 6 months, that things are bad, Donald Trump finally admitted it. That is something to take money and run on it, Democrats, and say, look what he's saying. The other one is when he said to conservative TV, when there's some house economy in the United States, what grade would you give it? A plus 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 plus. I think it was 7 plus that it gave it. Okay, if you think that the economy is that well, I don't know what country you're living in, but you're not living in the United States. All right, you are not taking advantage of what's put in a silver platter, including today, taking over an oil tanker. Why? What threat is it to our country? What is that? Oh, that it comes from Venezuela. Okay, why don't you take the oil tankers that are passing through Greenland that come from Russia. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Those people might bombard us. Okay. Fuck up of the week for the Republicans. Yours is simple. It's really simple. And it's not what you think.
Oh.
Donald Trump sent out a tweet after he forgave Grajales and his wife and signed a pardon for them and got pissed off because Grajales said, now that I am pardoned and there's no legal charges against me, I am running in my district as a Democrat for re-election. And he stands a good chance because the Republicans cannot say that he's a corrupt person because their president forgave him.
Yeah.
They cannot say, hey, no, wait, your president forgave me, said there was nothing wrong I did here, so you cannot bring that up. It's a very good Democrat district, and it's a very heavily Hispanic district that favors him. He's got pissed off because he assumed in his craziness, because I have to say anything I could think he's crazy, that because he pardoned him, that Grajales would be so grateful to Donald Trump that he would change parties and become a Republican and run as a Republican and be a Donald Trump follower. And he just tweeted out things that just show how ignorant he is about politics. He just said he's a traitor. He was always a Democrat. He did not, he's not grateful. Well, I suppose he's not. But then again, he never asked for the pardon. You just decided to give it to him. And the only reason is because he had been critical of Biden and that these things had happened. With all due respect, it shows that you have a president that is not concerned about us. He has not tweeted anything how he's going to fix the economy. He has not sent one bill to the House or to the Senate how he's going to fix the economy. He has not sent one bill to the House or the Senate of what he's going to do to help with the health insurance problem in this country. He has not done anything at all. There is no leadership. And you are just waiting for instruction from him. That is your fuck up. You have done nothing. We're about to enter next in 2 weeks into a new legislative session.
Sorry.
And there's no projects of how to fix health insurance, of how to fix the economy, of how to deal with the prices of anything. It's like whatever happens, happens. So, and this is your fuck up of the week. Hopefully, you're going to be out of section next week, so you won't be able to fuck up as much. But then again, like I said, people trust the Democratic Party's campaign manager for a sweep in 2026. He has a brilliant plan. Donald J. Trump will give the victory to the Democrats in 2026 with his own actions. With that in mind,
mark his words.
Comment to me. I will respond to your comments. I cannot respond to all of them, but I will get the gist of those. You like or dislike? Yeah. You want to call me delusional? Yeah. I might be delusional thinking that this country needs to be fixed and that both parties need to be straightened out. You might be right about that. But if you might be the one that's delusional, but let's have a discussion. Let's have it a peaceful and respectful one. Being that next week starts with the 15th of December, I wish you all some Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. And for those of you who celebrate Hanukkah, also Hanukkah. And for those of you, because I've been told this, that are atheists, enjoy the days off and the food. I mean, I want to include everybody here because I might get a comment. What about us? Hey, send it over. I don't care. So with that, have a nice weekend, and I'll talk to you all next week. Take care.
Awesome, Jimmy. Thank you. This has been great.
You too.
See you the next time.
You keep me informed. Okay.
Of course.
Okay.